and if you can't hear, hold up your hands. My first poem is Ghosts. Bob Arthur used it in his production of Haunting, and we were very excited about that. And the person who presented it did a much better job than I. So I will do the best I can anyway. Doña Jesucita Salazar de Baca, dressed in midnight black with golden brooch, is captured in a painting upon the wall of 17th century Casa de Ruiz. Her dark, malevolent eyes follow innocent visitors who exclaim in terror when they see her roving gaze. Polished vigas in the ceiling are bright with the glow of an orange fire, a warming fire, but not warm enough to banish ghostly beings. A chill is there. A moment of cool passes through the darkened halls. Betrayed by a mad lover sentenced to death for his cruel deeds, Doña Jesucita lives in the painting. She steps down. She walks the halls at night. I pray we do not meet her. The second is an Irish poem about Nuala O'Phelan. Listen to me, Irish women. Listen to my story of poverty, drugs, and alcohol. I am Nuala O'Phelan, born into a family of 9 hungry children, poor as cathedral church mice in deep, dark crypts. I learned to read at the age of 3, was teased by friends and siblings, and called a walking dictionary. For a time, my home was with relatives in Kerry, where we ate coarse pig skin and helped feed the fat old pig. Then I was sent to a gray stone convent. The nuns were shocked by my daring to drink and carouse with the town boys. I made my way to Dublin, Joyce's Dublin. Drugs, alcohol, and depression smothered me as a heavy, moist blanket. Months of struggling, then I made my way into the light. The dreadful habits were conquered. I became a columnist for the Irish Times, a planner of programs for the BBC. 30 years later, I returned to the convent where Mother Dorothea took me into the chapel to pray. We're proud of you, Nuala, she said. So I'm telling you, Irish women, you can overcome all obstacles with courage, faith, and hard work. This one is about a Mexican 17th century poet, Sor Juana Inés de la Cruz. Take my hand, Sor Juana, lead me into your century, the 17th. You with wimple askew, black eyes flashing, the Lord's servant, but also a student of science, mathematics, philosophy. Tell me about the plight of women during your lifetime. Only 2 choices for them, marriage or the convent. You stood before Archbishop Achiar, the hater of women, the man who praised God for his nearsightedness, which kept him from seeing women clearly. You were ordered to write no more. The Inquisition, dark, malevolent, hangs over your head. You respond with La Respuesta, your best-known work, an argument for women's education. Your poetry, powerful as the winds and ocean, has come down through the centuries. You sold your 4,000-book library to help the poor and the sick. Then you died of the plague. Sor Juana, you are revered and loved. The next one is Julia Butterfly Hill. This is an environmentalist. Julia Butterfly Hill, 25, small and dark, an environmentalist, was followed by butterflies, yellow monarchs, white and blue ones, when she traveled with her father, a preacher. After an almost fatal accident, Julia had a spiritual happening. She knew then that she wanted to save Luna, a 1,000-year-old, 200-foot tall redwood tree, a tree doomed to be cut by Pacific lumber. Julia Butterfly Hill lived in Luna for 2 years in a space of 4 by 6 feet. She could see the ocean, the Eel River, mountains, and the mill that turns ancient forests into lumber. Julia missed hot water, friends, and exercise, and the storms were frightening. One night she thought she would die, winds 90 miles an hour. She grabbed Luna and prayed. Luna said, Think of trees in a storm. They bend and flow with the wind. Let go. When Julia woke up, it was quiet. Her love is her power. She's no longer afraid. Julia Butterfly Hill saved Luna, the ancient redwood tree. This is one of my Navajo poems, Tom Begay. I am Tom Begay, grandson of the late Tall Deshini, singer of the Red Antway healing ceremony. I belong to the Many Deer Walking clan, the clan of my mother. I am of the Dened, the people who do not mix their blood with others. We have lived many ages in peace and harmony with the animals, water, and Earth Mother. We apologize to creatures before taking their lives for food or warmth, and kill only as many as we need. We walked with pride and shared the world before the white man came. In back alleys, near garbage cans, broken glass, and used condoms, I find a corner in which to lay down my greasy, unwashed head and bottle with a few leftover drops. I suck the bottle dry, sleep away the liquor, and my mangled, vanished life. The snarls entwine me and steal the beauty and the purpose of all I had before. I am bound more than my people were to the white man, tied and bound and smothered in my pain. I am Tom Begay, grandson of the late Tall Deshini, singer of the Red Antway healing ceremony. We lost a friend a couple of weeks ago, and this is a poem I wrote for her. For Teddy. Her feet lightly touch the floor. She moves so quickly down the path, the gentle breeze helps her along. Her fingers catch the sunbeams. She holds them for a time. Then she touches the fox's cub, soft reddish fur, bright snappy eyes. She feels the brush of angel wings, holding and caressing her. She cradles black-eyed Susans to her chest, black-eyed Susans once withered and gone, but bursting forth in bloom for her. Time seems less and less. Her moments are blessed. Happiness immerses her very being. She sings aloud in glorious tones the praises for her Lord. This is Return. We used to take the fast Super Chief from our Iowa school to Denver. We thought it was the most marvelous train. But then our parents put us on the old narrow gauge. The old narrow gauge puffs up the mountains and my heart rides with the wheels. All of me breathes with that engine and hears my heart pound with that engine. A singing of love for the prickly sharp needles of the blue spruce, the quivery sun gold of aspens, and small circles of snow covering gentian bells, pink laurel, and columbine. A return to these spine-back, sharp, icy places gives life to the soul. This is Platero, our little donkey. He came into our lives on an early day in June, a small gray donkey, long soft ears and melting eyes, tiny hooves. In another life, a beast of burden who carried Jesus through Jerusalem. Named for the donkey in Jimenez's Travels with My Donkey, this donkey was peaceful and loving. His former owner beat him when he stepped upon his bridle. I put my arms around his neck, kissed his furry ear, and whispered, "Lift up your foot, Platero." His foot came up immediately. I watched him through the kitchen window, contentedly munching grass with a child hanging on his tail, one seated on his back, another stroking his bent neck. The rains came, thunder, lightning crashed across the sky. Platero stood his ground. He refused to enter the goat shed. He preferred the rain, though we pushed, pulled, and begged. His coat was all slimy, shiny, sleek, and wet. He moved quickly when other children on their horses galloped up the hill. He then imagined himself a lively steed running after them. Early in the morning, when the first light flashed across the sky, Platero's nose would quiver, mouth open to give a loud bray, welcoming the newborn day. I rushed outside to close the spout. No, no, Platero, don't waken the neighbors. The Meitingers sat on their scrubbed front porch, complete with window boxes of scarlet petunias, bright as a new garden. Mr. Meitinger attired in stiff suspenders, holding up floppy jeans. Mrs. Meitinger freshly showered, dressed in a daisy print, and breathing in the fresh air of late afternoon. Platero grazed happily in his clover-filled yard. That donkey shouldn't be allowed, sniffed Mrs. Meitinger, holding up her dainty handkerchief. Later she told me, much to my great shock and surprise, that donkey's thing was hanging down. Children shouldn't see it. At Christmas time, after bowls of steaming cider, we caroled for friends and neighbors alike. Hark the herald angels sing, God bless thee, merry gentlemen. Away in a manger, we paused with bright crystals of snow dampening our colors. Our city manager friend Stanley said to me, Liz, you'll have to give the donkey up. Give up this special beast that had crept into our hearts and lives? Why? Platero, our sweet, charming donkey, left us soon after, and we still think of him as a loving gift. This is camp, one of our camping trips. Too many people in this place, chattering voices, running feet. But let the folds of dark envelop us, and there is quiet and peace by the sputtering warmth of the white flames. Later, in the nestled down of sleeping bags, we hold each other and give ourselves up to the velvet night. And two more. This one is waiting for the foxes. There is a stillness before the dawn fingers paint the sky, when the shrill barking of the foxes begins. Once in the mountains, I heard one close by, looked out and saw his furry form against the pines. He was silent then, as if he knew I listened, waiting for him to begin again, calling to his mate perhaps, or to the babies in the den. My foxes are in a picture on the kitchen wall. One head rests upon the other, eyes closed peacefully in sleep. There's a redness of the fur, bits of white marking the ears and jaws, two noses black as coal, the whiskers long and white. I imagine my foxes barking in the dawn, leaping and cavorting, free as the mountain wind. This is my last. This is a children's poem, The Mouse from Taos. The mouse from Taos was such a surprise, a small whiskered nose and bright beady eyes. Some time ago he had started to roam, trying to find a more suitable home. He was a kind mouse, not really bad, and he wanted a place like other mice had. He longed for a life well stocked with blue cheese, a life he could live with comfort and ease. The mouse ventured far and wide in his search, hoping to find a good place to perch, searching for someone to care of him who wouldn't just put him in a dustbin. No kittens to pounce, no puppies to play. The mouse knew he'd find the right place someday. Then down a lane below mountains blue, he finally found a place that would do. The lady who lived there prayed during Lent for a friend, and now a mouse had been sent. No pets allowed were inscribed in the deed, but surely no mouse would know how to read. So she greeted the mouse with chunks of cheese, and he settled right into his life with ease. The mouse from Taos had a loving friend, and his search for a home was at an end. Thank you so much.